Hello, and welcome to Take This TV, the television book club podcast where each week we talk about an episode of our favorite shows and we talk about them with our friends in the fandom. That's you. Hello. This season we're watching Shogun, and I'm joined as always by my wonderful co-host, Kimberly Woods. Hello.
Hey, hot potatoes.
What episode
Today
are we talking about this week?
We are on episode 3, and it's called Tomorrow is Tomorrow. The episode description for this episode is, after Blackthorn survives a brazen assassination attempt, Toranaga realizes he must ferry his allies out of Osaka or risk certain defeat.
Lord Toranaga is so clever.
Oh, gosh. He's so good. And this episode is so poetic.
Mm-hmm.
There's this first scene we get is where basically Toranaga is calling out Yabushige about Ishido's visit, and asking what he offered. And apparently Ishido offered a seat on the council. So Toranaga asks what Yabushige wants, and he wants to expand his fiefdom. And basically here it feels like Toranaga is giving him a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yabushige doesn't really know that this is a choice, but he in fact is this is the moment where he seals his fate to Toranaga. And yes. I love it because Toranaga's watch the sunrise with me, and it's oh my gosh. It's just so poetic. Their destinies are now tied as this, the sun is coming up.
Yes.
Because as we know in this episode, Toranaga is about to do his plan.
He's always scheming.
Mm-hmm.
And at the start of the episode, we see Yabushige writing a new version of his will, a new draft of his will. So even he's kind of going into this well, this might be it.
Mm-hmm. And this, it seems like this isn't the first time he's revised his will, so he's always kind of in jeopardy.
Yeah, Yabushige seems like kind of a goober who's always messing up. So
yeah.
Was he lying when he said that Ishido offered him a council seat? Because I don't remember that. Or was that just Ishido alluded to it? Because I thought Ishido said that Yabushige would have to die because he was in Toranaga's court.
Yeah, it seemed like that, but I don't know. I didn't think he was lying. It didn't seem like he had a reason to lie, like Yabushige himself.
Yeah. I thought he was trying to play the game of he offered me a council seat. but it doesn't seem like he was being humble though.
Yeah. I feel like he knew he was being called out at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he didn't know right then that he was tying his fate to his though.
I love when people ask Toranaga a question and then he just doesn't answer or walks away. This is the third or fourth time that he's done it. I'm the power moves.
It's so good. Then we have this hilarious scene that happens where Blackthorn is being tended to by the doctor and he keeps calling him a warlock and Mariko is translating.
It's what is this warlock doing to me?
What is this medicine? And the doctor is he's too tense. He doesn't need a doctor. He needs a woman.
Yes, he needs to be relaxed.
He needs to be relaxed. And then, so, Blackthorn asks Mariko, what is he saying? And Mariko's well, he says you need a woman to pillow with you.
Yeah, and he doesn't know what that means.
He's pillow?
Mariko and Blackthorn's interactions in this episode are really, really cute. I liked it a lot.
Top notch. I loved all of their scenes, all of their banter is so good. And then Blackthorn also says about the warlock, if he's not a warlock, he's most certainly a pimp.
Yeah.
There's so many great lines in this episode. Then we have Buntaro come to join them, and then we see Mariko's mood suddenly change.
Yeah,
she seems to be having a good time. She seems more relaxed with Blackthorn.
Yes. And when her husband bursts in, everybody's bowing, but Blackthorn's like, who's that? I love everybody just steady disrespecting him. It's so funny.
We learn that they are being sent to a fishing village, Ajiro Yabushige's province. And Mariko asks why, and, Buntaro, being Buntaro, is like, it's not for you to understand.
Yeah. Like, sexist to the max.
Yeah.
And he's also just, he seems like he's really frustrated with his station and is taking it out on Mariko because it seems like she is more important than he is. And it seems like that really bothers him.
Mm-hmm. And we
So,
also get, like, Blackthorn kind of noticing the dynamic between them. I feel like he even notices the rudeness.
and Mariko describes him as like a well-known warrior, like a accomplished warrior. When Blackthorn asks who is that when Buruko bursts in, so
Yeah,
maybe he has some
which is
prowess in battle.
funny. Which is funny because at the time I was like, is she lying? Okay.
Is she just hyping her husband up?
Because she does, yeah, because her face was kind of, I don't know. Obviously, she doesn't like him, but later in the episode, we do find out that he indeed is a honorable warrior.
Again, going back to what we were saying in a previous episode, all the characters are really complicated. He does suck, but his prowess in battle does not save him from his suckage. But the characters are all really complicated, and it makes him definitely human, which is cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. We start to see again Toranaga, the chess master, working his pieces here. He's seen an opportunity in the assassination attempt on Blackthorn. So he sees it as an opportunity to try to get himself out with the litter that is leaving. Kiri is one of the people that's supposed to be leaving, as well as, what's her name, Carmen? The woman who lost her husband and baby.
Yes, that is Fuji.
Fuji, yeah. As well as Fuji, and Blackthorn is supposed to be being escorted by Yabushige back to the fishing village, Ajiro.
There was an interesting scene with Fuji and Hiramatsu, who is Fuji's grandfather, which we didn't know before, but now we know. And Hiramatsu mentions the swords on the wall and how they were her father's, I think. And he was saying that her father was an honorable samurai and he died, and now it's like it's her turn or something like that. He says something vague.
Something vague, like now it's your turn, or like your turn to devote yourself to the cause, almost.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, is she gonna become a samurai? That would be cool.
Yeah, I was like, what's happening?
So I feel like she's gonna be important.
Yeah, I think so. Because I was like, okay, she's going with them. There's more to see of her yet. She's gonna find her purpose again. So that will be cool. Because we've seen, like, Mariko's been given her purpose again. Toranaga's kind of given her that opportunity. So now I feel like, yeah, Fuji, we're going to see. Which will be exciting.
Let's see what happens.
There's this elaborate plan where there's going to be this litter of people, which is Blackthorn, Fuji, Kiri, all leaving to head towards Ajiro, accompanied by Yabushige. Ishido hears about this happening and is like, wait a second, I need to come inspect this litter. You're supposed to tell me before anybody of importance is leaving. So he goes to inspect, and, indeed it is Kiri. And it is Fuji. But then we see some distraction happening.
Uh-oh.
The pregnant lady is, having pains, falls over, and we see an old switcheroo happen where Kiri leaves the litter, and, Toranaga hides in there. Nobody else really sees this except for Mariko and Blackthorn.
Yes, crafty. Toranaga is so crafty. I didn't really pick up on what was happening until they started to talk about it. Because I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, they swapped. Because at first I saw like it shows her like running away, and I was like, wait, what? Did she have time to get out while nobody was looking? And
Yeah, I saw the veil. I was like, there's a veil going behind a bush. What is happening? And then when like they showed the litter again, I thought I saw like Toranaga under the veil
mm-hmm.
or
It's
something.
also really clever because when Kiri's coming outside, everybody's like, oh, hurry up. Like, we need to be going. We should be on the road by now. But then we see her make that quick getaway. So it's like, was she pretending the whole time? Was this all part of the plan? They were like waiting for Ishido to show up because they probably knew that he would.
It seems like it. Yeah, it seems like once again they were like, Toranaga expected this inspection.
Mm-hmm. Always
And
ahead.
so he's
4
like,
steps ahead.
let's let him look first, and then we'll do the switcheroo, and then it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. So then Yabushige continues on, but Ishido's like, well, wait a second. Let's just have my men also come and escort you to, Ajiro. So they head towards another checkpoint, where then Ishido's men are like, wait, let's look, right? They were like at some gate.
We need
and
to
then Ishido's men
verify
are like,
everybody in your
yeah.
party. Yeah.
I love this is one of my favorite moments of the episode because it just reminded me of some sort of like D&D distraction tactic. Like with Blackthorn, it's so good. Blackthorn, now he's like in on it. He knows that Toranaga, this is his plan, and he sees, they go to Fuji's little litter Pekin. They start making their way towards Toranaga. And Blackthorn leaps to the rescue, master of distraction. He's the only one that could do this, like speaking out of turn, because he's the barbarian. So like people, just excuse his foreign horrible ways. But the stuff that he says during this is just hilarious. Like, am I the only man present who cherishes the purity of a woman? It's like, hands to his heart.
How dare you, sir?
A blight on all of you.
He took some hits too, taking some for the team.
It was like such to the max. I loved it so much. There's even a moment where he literally, like, the guy is going to like lift and look into Toranaga's litter, and he like slams his hand back down and starts talking again. Yeah. Falling on the ground and clutching the guy's leg. Anyway, it was over the top in the best of ways.
I love it. I also love that this like shows how committed Blackthorn is to helping Toranaga, and like how their relationship is kind of developed over the last few days that they've been spending together.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a wonderful scene.
It was so good.
A little bit before that, we also have Mariko telling Blackthorn that like Toranaga is known for his trickery, and when he was a child, he was like given as a prisoner, and he is of the belief that some people think that there are friends and enemies around, but there are no friends and there's only enemies everywhere. So Toranaga kind of believes that he's the only one he can rely on. And so we get some more insight, and like I think that this is a different side of Toranaga that we haven't really heard before.
Yeah. I think that's interesting too, because it kind of juxtaposes to Blackthorn's methods in the end of this episode, when he says something like, I think to Mariko, like, you think I have no friends? And then he like, when they arrive, near the port to go to the ship, and he sees like some of the crew that he survived that crazy storm with.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Captain Sama.
He's like, I know people, yeah.
Yeah, I know people. We have a bond now. They trust me. So it's interesting to see like that kind of juxtaposition a little bit.
Yeah.
But going back again, right after the litter takes off again, we cut to another one of my favorite moments, which again is Mariko and Blackthorn, the sex talk on the trail.
Marithorn.
Marithorn. And she is impressed by his distraction tactics and what he said, and asks him, like, is it true what you said about a woman's purity? And he's basically like, no, all guys are scoundrels back where I'm from,
Yeah.
But he
He's
has no
like,
use for
"Absolutely not."
casual buggery
Yeah,
himself.
casual buggery. Yeah. Because he was asking about pillowing, and he was like, "I can't believe you would think I'm into casual buggery or something like that."
Yeah, yeah. And then she was like, well, we think pillowing is necessary for good health. So I'm like, all right, Mariko.
The moment of cloud and rain. Yeah.
Yeah, it's as close to heaven as one can get.
But he does. Blackthorn does feel like that's a poetic way to describe it, because she's like trying to explain to him what it means, and he's like, "No, I got it. I know what that means."
It's so funny. I love it so much. I also like that description. I do. The clouds and the rain. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful
it is.
description of an orgasm.
Poetry.
We also learned during this conversation that Blackthorn has 2 kids back home.
Oh yeah, a
Tudor
son
and
and a
Elizabeth.
daughter.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Then they get ambushed.
Oh my gosh, arrows from the sky.
Kiyama's people have them. So there's fire arrows happening. Toranaga is trapped in the litter, and Mariko leaps to help get him out.
She does risk her life
Also,
to
she has
save
some
him.
really badass moments here.
But she picks up the spear and starts like just
Yeah.
absolutely massacring people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so good.
I
I
love
was
that
like,
she
okay, more
like
of this. This is awesome.
heck yeah. I feel like Toranaga, she has like this secret side of herself. Because even other people were like, wait, what? She's just out there like killing all these men.
So good. Oh my
It was cool to see
gosh.
her and Blackthorn fighting side by side.
And during all this chaos, Ishido's men finally realize that Toranaga has been there the whole time.
Busted.
Uh-oh. So finally they kind of turn on each other. And I feel like Kiyama's men are like, what is happening?
Yeah,
Because
he's
first
like,
they're
are they fighting
confused.
each
They're
other?
like, yeah, they're like, Ishido's men are here too, helping, Blackthorn escape. And so they're
Yeah.
confused by it at first, and then anyway, yeah. It's chaos.
I love that moment where they are like, "Oh, go tell Lord Ishido," and you see the horseman riding off. And then there's a moment where you see Buntaro with his bow, and you're like, "Oh, is he going to shoot the horseman to stop it?" But he doesn't. He goes to help Mariko, and so I feel like it's like a little moment, but to me, it was like he's more concerned about Mariko than he is about protecting Lord Toranaga's secret.
Yeah. That's cool. I didn't realize that. I saw him noticing them getting away, but that's really cool.
Yeah. And when that happened, I was like, oh, dang. Like, does this mean that there's about to be all out war if Ishido finds out? Like, what's going to happen?
That was funny.
Yeah. Oh,
I think, I guess Kiyama's men just basically were like, okay, we need to get to the docks at that point.
Because he knew that's where they were headed.
Yeah. Once we get to the docks, we have this really cool moment. Very redeeming moment, I think, in a way, for Buntaro. I was not expecting this, Carmen. I love that they give this character this, like you said, like, all the characters are so complicated. Like, even though he's, an asshole at home.
He is.
For the most part. He does actually have honor when it comes to his work and his position as, this warrior. So basically, as they're, escaping on the ship, he's the lone man there holding everybody else at bay. And there's this really cool moment where he turns towards Toranaga. Toranaga recognizes him. And we see that exchange between them. Before he turns around and just like charges up the dock to hold the rest of the people off.
Yes, he seemingly faces death with bravery. But as I was telling Kimberly before we started recording, we don't see him die on camera. And I feel like no body, no death. I feel like he's going to come back later. Also, there was that moment where he was like kind of down on the dock. and he kills the guys that he's down there fighting with.
Yeah.
And there's everybody else up on the shoreline, just like standing there waiting. And I'm like, why are they waiting? I feel like, I mean, there was that great moment with Toranaga where they have that exchange, but I also feel like that's suspicious.
So funny.
So, again, maybe I'm overthinking it with all of my theories, but I'm like, is he in on it in some kind of way? Because we know he was jealous about Mariko's station and all that. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was in on it in some kind of way, but I don't think he's
not.
dead.
I'm hoping he is dead, Carmen, because I think we need to clear the way for the Marithorn ship.
Marithorn,
and this is a great way to do so. This is a very nice way to do so. You know, his character goes out on a high.
Yes.
He has, with some respect. If it is some sort of trickery, then it's absolutely no respect for him and his characters, you know.
He's even worse than he was before, yeah.
But just clear out of the way right now so we can have our Marithorn ship.
I love
That's my
that
feeling.
Blackthorn is like, oh, I'm sorry about your husband. It's like, no, you're not. No, you're not.
It's funny. Blackthorn, again, seemed to be kind of, you know, kind of similar to the way when Yabushige almost did seppuku. I think this is like another moment where he sees somebody being honorable and recognizes it.
Yeah, because he's telling them that they should go back and he can still make it. But, you know, Lord Toranaga's like, no. And then Blackthorn's learning, like, that's not how they do things. And he's sort of watching in awe.
So even though they've made it out to sea, it's not smooth sailing yet.
Not yet.
No. Kiyama's boats are on the water, lying in wait. Blackthorn is like, does fishing happen this late?
Suspicious. There's suspicious activity on the water. Yeah. Yes.
But they see the black ship and decide that they'll approach the black ship. So everybody boards the black ship. And we see the captain who was trying to go ahead and leave even though he didn't have clearance to do so. Along with Rodriguez, who's on the ship, as well as Martine.
Yes. We previously said Rodrigo, but his name is Rodriguez. So. Oops. You know who we meant.
Yeah, you know who we meant. And basically, Toranaga tells them, hey, look, if you give me protection to leave out of here, then I'll give you clearance for your ship to leave like you wanted. The captain's like, I don't need it. I don't need that. Give me something more.
Right, because he sees this as an opportunity to exploit Toranaga.
Yeah. So Toranaga offers coin and also a church in Edo. And also, Toranaga would like Delacroix to bring Ono and Kiyama to his side. So all the Christian leaders to his side. So they come to this agreement.
Yeah, Martine asked for that, but then we see, what is the other guy's name?
Delacroix.
Delacroix. He sounds like a villain.
There's the captain that's named something else, but Delacroix is like the religious leader there.
Right. He's gonna go fight Quasimodo or something. So Delacroix is like, he says that they wouldn't be that it wouldn't be like of the faith to try to bribe them because it's bribery or whatever. And so he Martine translates that Delacroix agrees. But then we have that scene where they're rowing away where he's like, this is a promise we can hold them to, even if he's dead. So, I don't know. I feel like they may have gotten the upper hand on Toranaga in that agreement. So we'll see what happens.
I don't know. We'll see. I also like how they were trying to say, like, no, we don't accept bribery, but we have to rephrase it as, like, prayer. Or something, you know, like if we ask for it, or you know, like
in prayer, yeah.
In prayer, then it's okay now. They also say to Toranaga that Blackthorn must stay behind as part of the agreement. So Blackthorn is left on Toranaga's ship, and basically Mariko's like, sorry, we gotta leave you behind. And I love this. He's like, fuck that. As soon as they're gone, he's like, fuck that.
Yeah, Blackthorn's not the kind of person to just like be left to his fate. So he takes his fate into his own hands, quite literally.
And once again, I feel like Toranaga like maybe suspects this anyway. I feel like he's probably not that surprised that Blackthorn would pull this.
Well, there's that great moment where, like, everybody's kind of watching from the ship as Blackthorn is trying to sail the smaller vessel out. And when they make it past the blockade, there's that moment of Toranaga getting really excited and being like, yeah! Like, we've never seen him like have an outburst like that. And so I think it really shows like the relationship that Lord Toranaga and Blackthorn are forming.
I love it. And I also like too that once again it's like because Blackthorn like got this crew through that storm, they have this bond. So he's like they now trust him and they're working together in order to accomplish this, which is a really great moment. He like tries to say something in Japanese, he gets it slightly wrong, and then they're like oh and correct him.
He's like he means hurry up.
Yeah.
Whatever he said, that's not what he meant.
yeah.
That was
funny. That was a really exciting moment. I loved the banter between Rodriguez and Blackthorn during those moments too.
Yes. Their rivalry is really fun.
It's so much fun. And they're giving each other shit, and then they reach this moment where there's that big rock.
The crossroads of destiny.
The crossroads of destiny. And Blackthorn's like, hey, you gotta either let me, get ahead of you or just slam into me already.
Yeah, make up your mind.
Basically, yeah, make up your mind. And Rodriguez lets him go, and he's like, to himself, that's a debt repaid.
Mm-hmm. And so
that was cool.
The captain is upset that Rodriguez let them go because he wanted... The captain, I feel like we've been talking about how all the characters are really complex. The captain is a static character, which I'm like, I think with such a big cast, it's okay to have like a mustache twirly villain character.
Yeah, you gotta have some of those.
Yeah, he's just a bad dude.
There's some simple people. There's some simple people in life. Let's be honest.
You ain't never told a lie. You ain't never told a lie. But that's a different podcast. And we'll leave it at that.
Oh gosh. And the next scene, we cut to the council to get a little bit of the aftermath of all of the happenings that have been gone down. We find that Ishido's upset that somebody did this brazen assassination attempt, which I think it's Kiyama probably was the one behind it.
Yeah, because he was like the super religious one.
Yeah. So he's kind of, calling them out about that. And Lord Hiramatsu comes in to announce that Toranaga has resigned from the council.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, that's nice, but we're about to vote. And Lord Hiramatsu's like, well, you can't really now because, Taiko requires that there's 5 for a vote. And since Toranaga is no longer present, whoops, there can't be a vote.
And there's that lingering shot on Ishido's face where he's just like, motherfucker. Like, he knows that he got outplayed. And it reminds me of just like Saturday morning cartoons. Like, he's like Skeletor, like, I'll get you next time. It's so good.
It's so good.
Lord Hiramatsu with this like shit-eating grin of just like, well, it looks like you only have 4 people.
Yeah, it's like a total checkmate moment. And you're like, yep, Toranaga, checkmate. Boom.
So good.
It's so good. Oh my gosh. We cut back to the ship. Which, it's really great because Blackthorn took Toranaga's ship through, Toranaga can actually return to his ship and leave the black ship behind. So we get this beautiful shot. It's like early morning. Oh my god, it's so gorgeous. Like this hazy, sort of glowy. The cinematography on the show is beautiful.
Yeah.
We have Mariko and Blackthorn talking about, she says like, you must be eager to get back to England, basically, and we kind of learn that he hasn't ever met his daughter. He's been gone for so long, and that what's more important to him is freedom.
The sea, the freedom.
The sea.
It calls to
No
me,
yesterday.
it beckons.
Yeah. No yesterday, no tomorrow, just today.
Oh my gosh.
I
When
love
he
that.
was saying that, the way that she looked at him, I was like, they're gonna bone down later and she's gonna be like, there's only today.
Yeah.
I was like, that's spicy.
It's really spicy. It was such a good, gorgeous moment. We learned that Toranaga would like Blackthorn to assemble a regiment and teach them his tactics. And this regiment is going to include Toranaga's son and Yabushige.
Mm-hmm.
And we see Blackthorn kind of hesitate for a moment and then realize, oh, wait, maybe I do have something to offer.
Well, because
because he's like battle tactics. I don't know.
Yeah, because Delacroix was like, here's these books, and they will show you the true nature of Blackthorn, and he's a bad guy, and all this. He's a pirate. And so Lord Toranaga, being the clever fox that he is like, well, we'll have to translate these, and I guess that'll take a long time because, if he is found to be a pirate, that means death. But they don't know that right now because they can't translate the books. And so Blackthorn does have that moment of like, no, sir, I promise you, I'm just a sailor. And then it's like, all right, yeah, the jig is up. I'm a pirate. I love that moment of honesty where they can like see each other clearly, Toranaga and Blackthorn.
I love it. And we kind of see him like, we see Toranaga deciding like, I'm going to take a chance on you, sort of, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And then he says, let's go for a swim.
Oh my gosh. I thought in my head, I was like, Blackthorn's going to jump off the ship and they're going to be like, bye. And just leave him out there. But then I was like, I guess the show would be over, so that's not going to happen.
That's really funny. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was like, that's interesting, a swim.
Yeah.
To cement our new friendship. I don't know, like our alliance.
It was a very like it felt like an anime in that moment, and I was super here for it. Of just like, all right, we've defeated the evil, and now we shall have a beach episode.
Yeah, it's the beach episode. I love that we cut to, they say, let's go for a swim, and then we cut to Blackthorn in the water, like coming back up. And Toranaga's like still standing there. But I guess we see that like, okay, he's seen him dive off of the ship, and then Lord Toranaga's like, teach me how to dive. And so he has Blackthorn dive over and over and over and over and over and over again, to the point where Mariko is like, maybe we should try tomorrow.
And he said, tomorrow is tomorrow. Today I shall learn how to dive. It was such a great line.
Episode title.
Yes, they said the same.
Tomorrow is tomorrow. Yeah. But I love that it seems like all of the episodes have themes, and they're not so on the nose to me. Like, certain shows, it's like super on the nose. And here it just feels like more like a feeling or like a poem.
Heck yeah.
Rather than like
Yeah.
Like, I love how we started off with like both of them, Yabushige and Toranaga, watching a sunrise together. And then on this next, day, we have Toranaga and Blackthorn, like, as, early morning while this dive is happening.
Yeah, it's so good.
But it's so good.
We also kind of see how Toranaga thinks and how he learns, because he's watching Blackthorn. And then after Blackthorn does it an unknown number of times, he's like, all right, I got it. And then we see him dive off, and he's clearly learned how to do it from just watching. And so it's like, wow, okay, just from watching, he was able to figure out how to do this, something he never done before. And so that gives us insight into kind of how his mind works, which is really cool.
Yeah. And also at the same time, it's like, again, he's a complicated character. So he's like watching to learn, but also like this whole thing seems like a test in a way to see like how dedicated is Blackthorn. How, like, does he listen? Will he do what I say? Will he get fed up? How is he going to react? So he's like also learning about Blackthorn
Yeah.
Like, so it's like a test, and he generally does want to learn how to dive, I think. So it's like, it's so interesting. He's so complicated. I love it.
And I love at the end where he's like, "Would you race me to the shore?" And they dive in the water together. I was like, "Oh, now it is an anime, and I'm super here for
It's
this."
so good. And we end with Mariko's face with that smirk.
With that smirk.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, this is so good.
Which, okay, are you ready? Here we go. Crazy theory time. I was like, this is too happy. Things are too good. I love it. I'm so happy.
Okay.
But I'm like, Yabushige is gonna betray them at some point, and Lord Toranaga is gonna bite the dust at some point.
Yeah.
I was like, as soon as they were bonding and he was like, let's race to the shore and swim together, I was like, oh, he's a dead man. That's a dead man walking right there.
No. I don't know about that, but I do agree. It seems like we might be getting this high to have a low hit us soon.
We'll see.
You know, they're giving us a moment of reprieve before something devastating might happen. But I'm here for it. I will gladly accept the offering.
Because tomorrow is tomorrow, and today we get the beach episode.
Yes. But Carmen, I do have to say, like, one thing I appreciate, because I was a huge Game of Thrones fan, and I know this show is being compared to Game of Thrones a lot too. What I love about this show is that they're not relying as much on the shock and like violence and gore value for their episodes as like Game of Thrones. That was like a lot of it was like the violence was like the shocking, like part of the world. And yes, it's here too. Like that does exist in this world. But I feel like as part of the storytelling, they're not relying on it as much.
Yeah, I
which
like
is really
them a
cool
lot.
to see.
The characters are what really matter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I do have a question.
I can't wait to see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 5, how many thunderclouds and raindrops is the Mari Thorn thirst tracker for this episode?
5.
5.
It just keeps building and building. I can't wait for the storm to actually give me some.
Yes. Make it rain.
Come on. Make it rain. I love it so much.
I love it too.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm really excited for this, Carmen, because also it's like, how are they going to give it to us?
Right. That's also part of the fun.
What sort of scene is this going to be? I know. We shall see. I'm so excited.
Yes. Let us know in the comments or add us on socials and let us know what you think the final moment, the moment where Mari Thorn is actualized. What do you think it's going to be? If it's going to happen.
Yes, it's going to happen, and we can't wait. But make sure you follow us on @TakeThisTV. Let us know. Subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for watching. Welcome to the club. And remember, it is dangerous to watch TV alone.